So we're back on AEW Dynamite tonight. This is obviously the first time we'll see the Owen final being set up for the men's side. Obviously, we have our women's Owen Hart Cup semi-final too. And obviously, a bit more of a setup for Forbidden Door next week. I am recording this earlier normally, because I normally record at night, but I'm on late this week in work. Got to record now, because Tony never announces nothing after I record videos. Definitely not. But, yeah, let's talk about it. So, first thing we've got to talk about is obviously our Swerve Strickland and Will Ospreay promo segment we're getting face-to-face. Obviously, this is the confirmed Owen Hart Cup men's final, and both have been on a trajectory to get to this final, obviously, since the fucking bracket was revealed. I expect the promo to be good. Swerve and Ospreay have got a great bit of history, obviously. The match, obviously, at Forbidden Door, I assume that'll get mentioned. I want to see how they both react to both of their kind of character shifts, because obviously Swerve's back on his heel shit, and then Ospreay's kind of, you know, just with the Death Riders and stuff. I feel like, obviously, that's going to be something of note. My big thing is, I feel like Swerve may overstep a line again. Because I feel like, remember last time he mentioned Ospreay's kid? And when he done that, obviously, Ospreay said, don't do that shit. But I feel like if he does that again now, Swerve's going to get his shit rocked. Obviously, different with Ospreay now. I think Ospreay's obviously going to be so intense. I think Swerve's going to be like, what are you doing? Or stuff like that. But I feel like there's going to be still some respect, but a lot more attention than there is respect. I think we might get a tag match. I think they might set up a tag match for next week, you know, to kind of run it back, obviously, from All In. I think that's the last time they just even showed up with each other admittedly and interacted. So I think that's definitely something. And obviously, you know, mention, you put our title chances on the line, blah, blah, blah. I feel like there's going to be a lot of tension. I feel like there might be a bit of a scuffle, and I hope they make this build worth it, because Ospreay's obviously on a trajectory. I made a video about Swerve's build. I feel like it's something that should be sorted. But either way, I'm looking forward to this. I feel like it's definitely been earned, and hopefully they hit it out the park. I've got faith they will. I think Moxley might be involved too. I think that makes sense. But either way, I feel like that just makes all the sense in the world. After this, we actually have MJF and Mark Briscoe confirming their teams for Forbidden Door. Obviously, this will be 5 more people for each team, and they have a 12-man tag later on in the night as well. I don't know if this is going to be with said teams. I think there's going to be some sort of, obviously, rumble underfoot. I feel like specifically something's going to go on with MJF's team where he's going to swap some people out. Just to get into it, I feel like the whole thing will be good. I think Max will just dismiss Briscoe saying, I'm going to kick your ass, blah, blah, blah. Don's going to come in and basically say, you're never getting a world title shot, buddy. I feel like Briscoe's going to, because they obviously set up with Roddy and Kyle or stuff like that. You know, is Roddy going to team with them or not? Maybe not. So, you know, it depends who Briscoe picks. I feel like the obvious picks is Cassidy, Kyle. I think Roddy will be picked, but there'll be a bit of a thing going on there. Ishii, I think that's 4. And then you've got to add the 5th. I feel like, well, I say the 5th. Takeshita's going to be in there. Takeshita's got to be in there. Because, obviously, Takeshita's been setting up stuff with the conglomeration anyway. He's adjacent. And then also, I feel like, you know, makes sense. Because if we talk about MJF's team dead quick, obviously, it's going to be a lot of Don Callis. It's going to be Kyle Fletcher's going to be in there, obviously, because of the Takeshita stuff. I feel like once Takeshita's confirmed, Kyle Fletcher will be involved. I think Okada will be in there. That's 2. I feel like, for me, the big one is, I would put Hechicero in there, because fucking Hechicero's the boy. But then the other 2 are Andrade and Kevin Knight. Now, this is what I mean. I feel like there's going to be some switches. I feel like Andrade's not going to get in there. I feel like that's the big thing. I don't think Andrade's going to get in there. Unless, if they do it, Max is going to attack Andrade. I think that's going to be the whole thing. For me, I'm a shameless fuck. I would have Elcon in there easy. But I don't think Max will. I feel like he'll put someone in there. Rocky Romero will be a great call. Rocky would be a good call, but maybe not. Even Jake Doyle or Mark Davis will be in there, actually. I think Mark Davis will be in. So maybe you take one of those out. But Kevin Knight as well, obviously confirming. If Kevin Knight gets in there and they win, he gets a title shot. I feel like Kevin Knight will be in this match, but not in the Forbidden Door match. I feel like that's what's going to happen. I feel like there's going to be some sort of, like, some sort of complication. Same with, even with Briscoe's team, because that's what I was going to say. I feel like Roddy might get picked for this, or maybe not, and then there might be an injury, stuff like that, because I feel like there's going to be a spot opened up, because Cassidy's going to be in there, Takeshita's going to be in there, Kyle O'Reilly should be in there, and so should obviously Ishii, and so should Roddy. But I feel like there's an obvious call for Mystico to be in this, just because of the history with MJF, and obviously Forbidden Door, you got to kind of get those brands involved. I feel like Mystico would be a great call. I feel like Mystico would really work for this. And if you got El Cor in there, that could go hard. But point is, I feel like, bias aside, I feel like Mystico could make a way. I just obviously, you know, it's where do you put him in? But I feel like that'll be mainly the teams. Obviously, you know, Kyle, Okada, you know, they're the obvious. But I feel like it's the smaller ones. Like after, you know, like, do you get a Rocky? Do you get a Cat? You know what I mean? Do you even get an Ishii, or, you know what I mean? Stuff like that. Like, are they going to be... I think Ishii will be in it. I think that's no debate. But you know what I mean? I feel like Ishii in this match is going to be fucking insane. If I get Ishii with the blade, oh my god. But yeah, I feel like that's what the match and the promo segments will be. It kind of intersects into one. There definitely will be tension. I feel like Max will pull a wool over Kevin Knight's eyes and some shit will go on. I think Andrade is going to pull some absolute shit, as he should. I think Andrade is going to be livid. I feel like there might be... Honestly, if you got a bit of a... If that promo segment turns into Andrade beefing too, I'd be all for that. Obviously, I think Takeshita should be involved in that promo segment. I think that's a big narrative for this match. But overall, I mean, whatever they're doing, I'm all happy for. I think this match is so chaotic, it's going to work. There's definitely going to be some alterations for this week and Forbidden Door, because obviously there's a Dynamite in between. I feel like Max might lose the match, and then there might be some, you know, switches out. Maybe they lose the match, and then obviously they swap out Kevin Knight, or, you know, whatever. Maybe stuff like that happens. But I feel like there's definitely going to be some changes. But either way, this will be interesting. I'm loving how this is going to be set up, and this will be really fun. I'm looking forward to this. However, at this time, the only match we have confirmed so far is our AEW Women's Owen Hart Cup Women's semi-final between Mercedes Moné and Hazuki of Stardom. Obviously, we covered their match previously from Stardom years ago now. So we covered that on the page if you haven't seen it. This match has got this match should be really fucking good. It's got a great history to it, obviously, with the previous match. That was really good. This will be... I was going to say match tonight. There's no other matches. There's one other match confirmed, Jesus, but you know what I mean. I feel like this will be incredible. I think this will blow people away. If they let Hazuki actually go a bit, because I feel like they held it back a bit against Persephone. I feel like if they just let this match be, it'll just go fine. I think, again, I highly recommend watching the Stardom match from 24, I think it was. Obviously, Mercedes versus Hazuki. For that, I feel like this will definitely, you know, pay off. I think this should be it won't be the main event, but it should be. I think the big thing for me with this is, obviously, I think Mercedes will win here, and it is what it is. I feel like Mercedes will win. I think she's deserving, but it's also robbed Hazuki of a good moment. I do think, personally, they need to give this time. I think this is a big one for time. I feel like a lot of time with the Owen matches, you're like, oh yeah, 15, 20 minutes. I think this should be a half. I do think this should be a half an hour-esque match, or at least close to it. I feel like you've got to give this respect. This is a big match. This is a very big match. Not even just in terms of the Owen, but just in terms of the icons of the industry. Mercedes, one of the most notorious, biggest women's wrestlers ever. And obviously, same with Hazuki and Stardom. She's a big deal. You got to treat this with respect. If this wasn't an Owen Hart Cup match, or this wasn't a semi-final possibility, I wouldn't be against this being the final at Forbidden Door. You know what I mean? Like, that's the level. But I think Mercedes will win. I think the match will be excellent. I think that's, you know, no shock to say. But I'm looking forward to this match. I highly anticipate a lot of people to look forward to this match. And if they don't, I hope they actually get to enjoy this match, because this will blow your fucking mind, the pair of them. But either way, I think Mercedes wins. I think that's the obvious call. Him versus, obviously, Athena in the next round. Athena versus Maya Whale. But, you know, I think it'll be Athena. Shock. But either way, I feel like this match will be stellar. I do. I think it'll be one of the best TV matches we've seen. And I think it'll make Mercedes... I hope Mercedes continues this more mental breakdown-esque thing that's going on. I feel like that's definitely something that we could address more. But either way, as a match, bell to bell, this is going to be incredible. I hope everyone's anticipating it, because it is going to be nuts. So yeah, that's everything that's confirmed for Dynamite tonight. Anything else that I expect to happen? Obviously, some matches, you know, it's still early on. I do expect something to happen with the dogs again. I think like that's a consistent thing. Obviously, some sort of builds between, you know, Athena and Maya Whale. That's on a collision this week. Because this week. I feel like Moxley might get a match. I feel like that makes sense. Something with the Shane Taylor stuff. I would love to see Shane Taylor in the Infantry or whoever get a match here. I would. I think that would be really fucking good idea. I would just love some more, you know, just smaller things. I think Tekla needs it. Obviously, Tekla and Starlight Kid, that got announced. I feel like that should have a bit of a build, because Tekla's build's being the best out of all of them. Obviously, you got the Survival of the Fittest stuff. I feel like we'll get a match of the Survival of the Fittest matches here. Someone like a Stat. Obviously, Stat hasn't had her match yet. And obviously, you know, I think the match is next week. So, I feel like, or next week or the week after. So it's coming up to it. But either way, I feel we'll get a survival of the fittest match. Maybe 2 because we got 2 on Collision. But either way, I'm looking forward to this. I'm looking forward to this Dynamite. I think there's a lot of stuff here. Please don't give us Jericho as an opener again. I feel like we've got something with Jericho and Ciampa, but I don't think it'll be the opener. I hope to God it isn't. I would like to see a Bandito match. Where the fuck's he been at? I've missed him. I think he's injured or visa issues again, but Bandito's the boy. Give me some sort of lucha. I want lucha this week. I'm feeling lucha. Like a fucking meal. I'm feeling lucha. But you know what I mean? I'm looking forward to it. I feel like we should get a lot of stuff, a lot of development. This is like the time where they normally bombard you with Owen Hart Cup announcements and Owen Hart Cup, Forbidden Door announcements, obviously. So I think this will be it. And I think we'll get some... Hopefully they work this Yota Tsuji stuff. I feel like that's definitely something. The dogs as well. Gabe Kidd obviously returned at Dominion. So, you know, that could be something that's addressed. But either way, whatever they do, I'm looking forward to it. This should be an eventful Dynamite, to say the least. So, that's my thoughts and predictions for Dynamite tonight. Let me know what you think. Sorry it's a bit early, obviously, you know, I've got no reason. I'm early. Yeah, let me know what you think of what's going to happen. And let me know what you think's going to happen with... Who do you think's going to be picked for MJF and Briscoe's teams? I think that's obviously a debate. Will El Clon make it? I hope to God he does.